Welcome back. Today's topic
is marriage dead?
I'm IRON HANZ. I've been on red pill hard mode for almost 20 years, and I'm unapologetically here to help men. I believe that I have a very unique perspective when it comes to this topic. I've personally been married for almost 20 years. I've got 5 kids. I am Christian, but I don't like the take of modern traditional conservatives. And I'll tell you why. You see, I got red pilled in high school. I had a really good friend of mine who hooked up with a girl at a party. And this girl's father somehow found out about the situation, and the girl essentially threw the dude under the bus so that she wouldn't get in trouble with her father. So she blamed him for what had happened, and he went to jail for a long time so that the daughter wouldn't have to deal with the wrath of her father. And that left a mark on me, because from that point on, I was never able to kind of look at women the same way. And I'd been through a few relationships, and the red pill is right when they talk about how men are the romantics, because through all those relationships, and I can attest that a lot of my friends went through the same situations, that the men were just simply the ones who were putting a lot of the effort into the relationships until I found my wife. And a lot of the traditional trad cons will just tell you that you need to just pick up your cross and carry it, crawl up on there, get nailed to it, and that's your duty of performance to society. You're born that way, without taking into consideration the social contract. A man is expected to protect, to provide, and preside. But society more and more is not liking the presiding part. If you strip that authority from the man, there is no reason why he should do that. It's casting your pearls before swine. Even Jesus himself said, don't go into certain locations because they're just going to tear you apart. And you do quite often hear the argument, not all girls are like that. I'm not like that. Not all women are like that. The old NAWALT. But let me ask you this. If you're at a conference and they throw out 100 muffins on the table and they tell you one of them muffins is going to kill you. Are you eating one of those muffins, my dude? Most likely not. But the good news is that women are not muffins. And there's a lot of things that you can do to decipher if one is marriageable or not. The main problem with a lot of traditional conservatives also is that they live in a vacuum. They might not have experienced a red pill moment yet. Like Crowder. They love to talk smack about the red pill until it happens to them. Then all of a sudden, they're saying the same talking points that we were all talking about.
You're a young man and you're obese. You're living in your basement. You know what not one of your male friends says? Nah, don't worry, you're in great shape. Yeah. The best you can hope for is, hey man, you're in a rough spot. I'm here for you. You'll figure it out. Yeah. We don't tell them that you're beautiful and brave in your state of disarray. Every single woman, by the way, who are twice as likely to be obese as young men, has friends going, no, Becky, you're beautiful. I had a scenario, this is true. I had a scenario where I was roped in by my then lady to console her friend who boyfriend broke up with her. Mm-hmm. And they were going, oh my God, let's go. He just doesn't deserve you. Tell her. I go, I remember when she cheated on him. And they all were like, no, it's his loss. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not like he...
Where have you been, Crowder? We've been waiting for you. It took a divorce.
Andrew Wilson, for example, his wife is based AF. She wrote a book about anti-feminism. So of course, he's going to have a different perspective on marriage. He's got a based one, like myself. The problem is that I personally have seen the effects of feminism in my own personal life and in the lives of a lot of the men around me. And you just can't ignore that. The other part of it is it could be cope, because men have an ego investment. A lot of men don't want to admit when they're wrong. So you gotta be capable of self-evaluation for these ego investments that you have. You gotta ask yourself the question, am I going to bat for this because it's actually true? Or am I going to bat for this because it makes me look good? Why do I want to get married? Do I even want to get married? See, a lot of dudes are just simply scared to lose the current relationship, and so they will bend the knee to this without even wondering if that's something that they even want themselves. And that's what you gotta do. You gotta ask yourself the question, do I even want to get married? What is the point of marriage? My perspective on this is that, do you want kids? Yes or no? Yes, then you probably should do the marriage thing. No? Why are you getting married? There's literally no point. This leads me to the next subject of, if you want kids, you got to be really careful to select the right person to do that with. Don't just throw a baby into any freaking person, because it's not just you you're affecting, it's the children you're affecting. You got to be not afraid to ask the proper questions. When I met my wife, we sat down quite often and just hashed it out. I was constantly testing her to see what her moral compass was. As a Christian myself, I believe that the Bible lays out the proper footwork for the best life possible. I don't think that the precepts in there are there to keep you from enjoying yourself. I think that they're there to basically protect you from making big mistakes. It's a fence over a cliff. A lot of people think of it as like this fence that keeps you out from having fun. I've seen it and noticed it as a fence that keeps you from falling off a freaking cliff. So, and I believe when Jesus said himself that I am the way, the truth, and the life, no one goes to the Father but through me. It's basically like a constitution. If you have a republic, you're not going to get blown about. You have an anchor that holds you solid and keeps you from drifting away into depravity and craziness, like sacrificing babies to Molech, or like the Aztecs were hauling people up on top of a pyramid, ripping hearts out. Secular humanists don't have that. If the majority agrees that we're going to lock people down, throw a diaper on their face, and force them into compliance, and choose and pick who's essential and who's not essential, that's secular humanism. Do no harm can easily turn into a lot of harm for certain individuals. You got to not be afraid to ask these questions, because you got to know, is this woman capable of deleting my child? Don't be afraid to ask them, And I think what happens when you ask these questions is it actually stokes more desire in the woman, because she can sense that you're not scared to lose her, that you're a high value. It indicates that you are capable of standing up for yourself and standing up to other people. If you're not asking her any questions, there's no true connection anyways. And what you're doing is essentially fall in love with a projection of what you think that you want, rather than what's actually in front of you. So do you want kids? Yes or no? Yes, marriage is on the table. No, don't get married. There's no point. Deciding that you do want kids, now you got to make sure that the woman that you're going to be marrying won't just take them from you. This is another part where the tradcons get it wrong. You listen to guys like Andrew Wilson talk about marriage and what men get out of it, and they talk about children. Well, that's not the case, because with no-fault divorce, she can just leave and take them and then poison them against you And I've seen this personally in my own life multiple times. And every man has, every dude has a story where this has happened to somebody they know. So it's not some random 1% statistic. It's out there. We've all experienced it. And you got to ask her the question, are you an Ephesians wife? Will you submit to my leadership and my authority? And you got to date this woman for probably 2 years, because they can keep it up for a long time. They can keep up the sham for a really long time. You'll be surprised. And you should not be the one pushing for marriage. She should be. The other thing I see a lot of men fall for when it comes to picking a spouse is they will pick the girl that they want to marry. That's wrong, my dude. You got to pick the girl that wants to marry you. If you're constantly qualifying for her, that puts her in a leadership position in the relationship. That's never going to work. Now, you may not even be Christian, but at the same time, these principles were laid out from human experience. So you can't ignore them. And it's not just the Christian religion that has this. It's pretty much every religion, every tradition that's out there knows that women are hypergamous. You have to suss out whether or not she wants to be married or if she wants to be a wife. And the Ephesians woman is a wife. She submits to her husband in all things as to the Lord. And you have to suss out, does she want to be a mother or does she want children? A lot of women see children as an extension of themselves. They're just another thing to acquire. They don't want to be mothers. They want to drop them off at daycare, then drop them off at school, and continue their careers. And if she thinks that she needs to store up a bunch of cash just in case you leave her in the future, well, that's not a lot of faith in you now, is it, my dude? She's showing you who she really is. She doesn't trust you. And if she doesn't trust you, she's not going to trust your leadership. And if she's not going to trust your leadership, she's always going to give you congruence tests. She's going to always be testing you constantly. Don't yoke yourself to that. I believe the only reason why my marriage has lasted for almost 20 years is that I was not afraid to ask these questions before we got married. While we were dating, I was constantly sitting down with her and just asking her hard-hitting questions. And you want to marry a girl who is going to get on your boat. Not try to tie her boat to your boat and sail together off into the sunset. How is that going to work? One of your boats is going to capsize. There's no way. There's no such thing as equality in relationships. Because women are hypergamous. Berfault's law states that women have to gain something from the relationship in order for there to be a relationship. And it's true. Ask yourself this question. How many movies and how many TV shows have you seen where a woman rescues a homeless man and makes him something? It never happens. You always see it in movies, though, where a man will marry like a prostitute and then turn her into a housewife. Well, it doesn't work that way either, dude. You cannot shake the whore tree. You cannot shake the hua tree and expect a wife to fall out. Once women have a certain amount of experience, they're incapable of pair bonding. I've seen it in my own life with people that I know. They start Frankensteining their boyfriends. Well, Chad had this and Tom had that, and they will grow to have an expectation that you're going to meet those expectations as well. And we cannot fall for this Disney myth that just be yourself, because it's not true. Women fall in love with you for your potential. And that's the next part of it, is that I hate to say this, it's kind of tough, but if you were married and you lost your wife, there's a big sprinkler here and I'm trying not to get hit by it, so I'm going to wait till it goes by. If you were married and you lost your wife, it's going to be really hard for you to find a woman that you could possibly marry ever again. And this is why. You need to find someone to have experiences with. I think the big reason why mine and my wife's marriage lasted this long also is that we married very young. And so we accumulated a lot of first experiences together, and that just bonds us even tighter. We bought our first car together. We ran half marathons together. We played semi-pro paintball. We had our first child together. All these firsts just solidify and harden your relationship. When you're finding a woman who's had all these firsts already, she's bought her own house, she's bought her own cars, she's had all these experiences, there's just not a whole lot that you can bond together with. And that's the crazy thing about boomers, because I don't understand how these dudes can go through 3 or 4 divorces and not learn their freaking lesson. You've got to listen to your gut, because your gut is mostly going to be right. If you're sensing that you are her 3rd or 4th draft pick, don't do it, dude. Don't do it. You want your woman to have genuine desire for you. You see it all the time in media, like cartoons. A good example of this is ReZero. He's got this perfect girl, Rem, who literally dies for him. And then he's chasing the girl who couldn't be bothered to give him the time of day. You've got to realize that when you're chasing something that doesn't chase you, you're chasing a projection. You're chasing something that does not exist. You'll be much happier in the long run if you choose someone who chooses you first. A girl who's genuinely into you will bend her will to match yours. I married my wife because she was the first girl that I ever dated who would bend her will to meet mine. I was writing articles for a magazine. I was in the music industry, and I was going to move back to California to be part of launch. And my wife was going to college at the time when we were dating. And I told her, this isn't going to work out because I need to move back to California to be part of this. And she was the first girl that I ever dated who said, I'll come with you. She was willing to drop out of college and come with me. That's the kind of girl you want to marry. Because that's the kind of girl who's into you 100. If she's not willing to submit to your authority, she's not into you 100. There is no reason to marry. Absolutely not. And this is where a lot of tradcons get it wrong, is that I'm a Christian and I know that even though I married her, she can leave me at the drop of a hat and take the kids. It's a covert contract to tell yourself that that won't happen. If you get married, you're going to have the constant burden of performance.
Burden of performance.
You got to be up to the task. You can't get married, lock her down, and then just coast. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about, do I want to get married? If you want to get married, you're going to have to perform, my dude. Because if you want kids, you do not want to put them in the public school system. You want to be providing 100. So that being said, you're going to have to marry a girl who's going to get on your program 100. You have to be able to tell her, I don't like this. You need to change this. If she's not willing to change that, she's not marriage material. Anything other than an emphatic yes is a no. If you're not capable of making enough money so that she can stay home and take care of the kids, don't do it. I'm not saying that while you don't have kids that she can't work. That's fine. But you need an exit strategy. So while you're working and she's working and you're both without kids, you need to be planning your exit strategy. How are we going to get out of this city? You don't want to raise your kids in some blue state. Just look into the laws that are around you and the state that you're in. Don't go into this blindly. This is not a small thing. You're bringing other people into this world. That's the main problem that I have with a lot of boomers, is they just stumbled through life without thinking about the recourses. Wifing up girls that have like OnlyFans accounts, and now your kid's getting bullied in high school. The problem with most of this is that men are just afraid. They have a lack of abundance. This is where a lot of tradcons get it wrong too. You need to date a lot of women. I said date, not sleep with. Don't just marry the first girl that comes around, you know what I mean? You gotta suss them out. Put them through the ringer, put them to work. If you don't think that women are doing the same thing to you, you're crazy, dude. So to sum everything up, I would say, is modern marriage dead? I'd say for the majority of young men, yes, it is. Because even in biblical times, it states that it was hard to find a wife. And someone who found one was blessed. So this is not new. It's always been around. Keep that in mind. The social contract has been completely obliterated. So you need to be extremely cautious when it comes to giving your fidelity to one woman. It's better to marry young if you're going to go through marriage. I don't think you should be getting married when you're in your 30s or 40s. There's just too many experiences that happen before then. Experiences don't ruin men, experiences ruin women because of hypergamy. If you're new to that term, hypergamy means that a woman will only date or marry a man who's equal or higher than her in status. You can't argue with that. A lot of people cringe when you talk about hypergamy and they say that, oh, not all girls are like that. But you start asking a few questions and you'll find out certainly it's true. In some way, in some regard, you have to be better than her. If you're an older dude and you're in the dating market, don't get married. It's not worth it. There's too much liability. If this video was helpful in any way, like and subscribe. I've got the locker room link down below. We do a private video each month. Iron sharpens iron. We can help each other out with our situations. So let me know what you think. Comment down below if there's anything that I missed. It's important for us to all speak our minds on this because no one has the 100% truth. We all need each other's experiences to help iron this stuff out. And until next time.
I feel secure in my relationship.
You are made of stupid.